Welcome back! My name is ballerscuba. This is Video Games Over Time! We are still in 1986. Today, we're going to talk about Genpei Toma Den. The story of Genpei Toma Den takes us back to Namco. We have talked about Namco several times before. They have been responsible for the Pac-Man franchise, Xevious, and the Tower of Druaga. We last talked about Namco in our video on Pac-Land. For Genpei Toma Den, Namco turned to Norio Nakagata in his first lead role for a video game. Norio Nakagata had previously done the music for 1985's Motos. He would also create the music for Genpei Toma Den. Nakagata would be joined by Nobuhiko Abe, who designed the art for the game. This was Abe's first video game. Genpei Toma Den, or Genpei Defeating Demon Tail, is an alternate fictional history based on the Genpei War. The Genpei War was a civil war in Japan between 1180 and 1185 CE. The fighting was between the Taira and Minamoto clans. It resulted in the downfall of the Taira and the establishment of the Kamakura shogunate under Minamoto no Yoritomo. Genpei Toma Den is a hack-and-slash game. The player plays as Taira no Kagekiyo, a samurai who was killed during the decisive battle of the Genpei War. In the game, Kagekiyo has been resurrected to defeat the Minamoto clan. The player's goal is to go through the Japanese countryside, fighting enemies as they appear in several different stages in different styles. Those different styles include Small Mode, which is a standard horizontal scrolling level, Big Mode, which is like Small Mode but with larger characters, and Plane Mode, which has an overhead perspective. Namco released Genpei Toma Den to Japanese arcades in October 1986. That is a brief backstory to Genpei Toma Den. With that told, it's time to play the game for ourselves. And here we are in the game! This is Genpei Toma Den, and this is a game that I am going to do my best with, but as you can see, everything on the screen is going to be in Japanese, which I cannot read and therefore cannot translate, but I have kind of looked up quick summaries of what is going on in the game, so hopefully I'll be able to just kind of explain things as we go. But there's not really too much to explain, as we can see the demo here in Big Mode. I believe that is the second or third level. Either way, we need to get in, and I'll see what I can do. I at least want to show off all three different modes of the game. I should be able to do that, but we will see what happens. No clue what she said there, but copyright 1986 by Namco. Let's get in. And this is kind of an explanation, I believe from a goddess, that we need to make it out of hell in order to make it back to Japan. So that's where we're going to start in hell in Small Mode. Now the way that I play this game is you just kind of motor as best as you can, because there's things. I already got hit too much here, but as you hold the button down, you should be able to pick up speed at some point. Now, there's no reason to fight enemies other than a score, which I don't particularly care about. I am here for progression, not score. Alright, let's make it up, and I made it to the end. I know it kind of looks like I died, but I made it to the end. And I got some health back, and now we're in Big Mode, and as you can see, like, the way that the sword kind of functions is a little weird. Like, you really do have control of it with your joystick kind of going up and down. And that takes a lot of getting used to. But hopefully I can figure it out as we go. I wanted to go... You know what I wanted to do. Alright. And then we can hop and go over that enemy. Alright, and I believe we made it to the end. There is the end. And we get some more health back. We made it through the second level, and now we are going to show off the third mode of the game, which is Plane Mode. like you're in a plane, I assume. It's kind of this overhead mode. This is honestly my least favorite mode, I think. Big mode's pretty bad too. But either way, we will do what we can to get out of here. I believe that we have now made it out of hell and we're in, I think it's Nagoya? I could be wrong about that. I looked up the names before we went, but my knowledge of Japanese geography leaves a lot to be desired. Okay, let's just go. Let's just go. And there we go. We made it to the end. And we get a full heal for making it all the way to the end. And now we're going to go on to, I believe this is Suo. And this is as far as I made it during my testing. And you'll see why. Alright, so we got tigers jumping at me out of nowhere. And we have kind of a boss fight here. So I'm kind of doing what I can against the boss. Come on, so close. Just... Alright, got the boss. Can we make it all the way? No. No, and there is our first death. I assume that says something like game over or something like that. Alright, and then we can put in another quarter and continue. Is that Amaterasu? It could be. I don't know my Japanese... I don't know a lot about Japanese culture, but we're going to try to play games heavy in Japanese culture as we continue. But if they don't label them for me in English, I'm going to struggle. And this game is not doing that. Alright. Then try... Yeah, we're screwed here. And this is why I didn't make it past this in my testing. The combination of just everything flung at me, the tiger... yeah, we'll put in like 5 more quarters. I'm going to try to make it past this level, but if just know right now that might not happen. And hopefully we can... Like, we need to kind of defeat all these arrows that are being flung at me, a tiger that's coming at me, and a boss. Kind of all at the same time. Come on, and attack. Alright, grab that. Alright, and we got the windmill now. No! We went down at the same time. This is why I put in so many quarters. If I get the dynamite thing, it turns my attack into like a windmill. So that's what I'm trying to go for. I think it's supposed to be like a scroll or something, but it looks like dynamite to me. Yeah, I struggle so much with so much of this. Just keep pushing. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a scroll. Alright, windmill, activate! Not strong enough. Just not strong enough. It's probably not a good sign that as soon as I picked up the windmill, I basically just got obliterated. But, you know, like, I'll see what I can do further. Come on. Just keep pushing you back. Deal with the tiger. Okay, windmill. Alright, down you go. And there's the tiger coming. Like, they give you warnings that the tigers are going to show up. But, alright, we made it to the end. That is the end of the level. And I got some of my health back, but not a ton. And we're moving on to the next level. I'm completely lost as to where we are now. But we're in small mode. And I'm going to dive very quickly. Those rocks, I don't believe I can do anything to combat them. I just am supposed to avoid them. Oh, now we got a platforming segment? Oh, that was not nice. Oh, we're moving on. That wasn't a death. I just go to a different area because I fell. Yeah, and try to take that out. Alright, try to get some things out of there, and deal with this, honestly, level that reminds me of Gauntlet. But the way that my, my sword goes is at a very kind of distinct angle that I can't always attack at. Like, I gotta put people in the right spot, otherwise I'm screwed. Yeah, I'm not seemingly getting any health out of that. Okay, so let's just motor. Nope, I'm dead. That's the end of me. And I think that is enough for today. We tried. We tried, but we could not defeat our enemy after coming back from the dead. I think that is enough for me today. That is Genpei Toma Den played. And with it played, it's time to talk about how it holds up today. Playing the game today, I did have a little bit of fun playing Genpei Toma Den, but ultimately not a lot of fun. I think that there are some aspects that I do enjoy about the game. I do like that there are basically 3 different segments that you play through. That kind of variance in gameplay is something that I do appreciate, but ultimately everything that they kind of did just wasn't necessarily up to the standard that I had been expecting from other games of the time, so I don't think it's fair for me to kind of give this game more of a lenient take than I would some other games. I think that the graphics on the sprites are pretty good. I think that the way the sprites move are not so good, and I think that the backgrounds leave a lot to be desired for the most part. But the sprites themselves, I think they're well drawn. I think that having 3 different ways to play the game means that you're seeing things from a lot of different perspectives, especially our main character and the tigers and the enemies that we're fighting. I think that they're all drawn well, but a lot of the movement is kind of janky, and the control scheme kind of ultimately felt pretty janky as well. Like I said, you just kind of hold right, and at some point your character just kind of speeds up. That's a little weird for me in small in the small mode. In big mode, the way that the sword moves is awkward. I've never fully got used to it. I tried to do what I could, but ultimately, right, you hold right to move right, and then you kind of go up and down to move the sword up and down, but I never fully got the sense that I was swinging the sword, which is what I felt they were going for. And then plain mode, which was much more of the gauntlet style gameplay. The way that the sword could only attack kind of in certain directions meant that if the enemy was not in that direction, they were hitting me and I wasn't hitting them. So the game has some good things going for it, but ultimately I feel like it falls short in most aspects of the game. And of course I can't really speak to the story or the historical accuracy of anything that's going on. Obviously somebody coming back from hell I don't think is going to be entirely historically accurate, but I don't know much about the Genpei War or its importance to Japanese history. I am told that it's important, but I don't necessarily see that myself from the outside, so I don't really have any sort of nostalgia or, I'm not looking at it in awe like I would some other pieces of history. So ultimately, it kind of falls flat for me as a modern gamer outside of Japan. And granted, this game was released in Japan for a Japanese audience, but I think that the gameplay ultimately lets the game down. I feel like it's just all a little bit too awkward, and there's so much going on that it feels like you can't really deflect everything, and I think that's why they give you the life at the end of every level, which they are fairly short, so you can make it through a lot of levels and keep on getting more life, but I think they have to do that because you're just going to get hit in the game. It just is going to happen because the controls are awkward and they're just throwing so many things at you. And it's not too often that I play a game that will allow me to continue exactly where I left off, and my thumbs aren't sore or anything, and I'm still just kind of choosing, no thank you, I don't want to continue with the game. I think this is a good stopping point. And that kind of speaks to the game's lasting power. So would I recommend this game to a modern gamer? I would say largely no. I think that there is a small niche of people that would have interest in playing a game like this, but for the most part, as a whole, I would not recommend the game. And I think the niche would be people that are interested in the Genpei War, are interested in Japanese history, and, you know, want to kind of play out one of the characters or one of the people in that war and try to take a different stance on how that war went. But if you're not interested in that, I don't really see a lot in this game to recommend. I don't think it's necessarily good as a hack and slash or a beat 'em up or an action game. I think that it's interesting what they tried to do, but ultimately it lacks a lot of polish. It just doesn't feel quite right when I play it. And that's my modern take on the game. When the game was released, Genpei Toma Den would be popular. The game would top the sales charts in Japan for a couple months. The critics at the time were also positive about the game, seeing it as one of Namco's best arcade games. As time has gone on, Genpei Toma Den has retained its positive reputation in Japan. The game is often seen as one of the greatest arcade games of all time, particularly for its graphics, gameplay, soundtrack, and faithfulness to its source material. How the game has been viewed outside Japan, however, is a different story. Genpei Toma Den would receive ports, sequels, and re-releases. We will keep an eye on these as we continue. As for Namco, with one of their biggest successes in the arcade in recent years, they would capitalize on the game's success to continue creating video games. We will hear from Namco again. As for Norio Nakagata and Nobuhiko Abe, they would both continue to create video games, they would both continue to work in the industry, but nothing would achieve quite the success of Genpei Toma Den. We may hear from these two again, but perhaps only briefly. That will do it for the story of Genpei Toma Den for now. My name is ballerscuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next video when we continue playing through Japanese history.